The Alabama Farmers Federation and the Alabama Farmers Cooperative proudly present Simply Southern with your hosts Jim Allen and Mary Johnson.
Good morning and welcome to Simply Southern. I'm Jim Allen.
And I'm Mary Johnson. Thanks for joining us for the unique stories of life in the South. On today's show, we'll visit Humble Heart Farm, a goat dairy where they don't kid around about making tasty treats. Then we'll introduce you to the people who work around the clock to keep rural Alabama safe. And Sidney Phelps from Bonnie Plants will close out the show with gardening tips on picking the perfect pepper for your garden.
But to start the show, we'll take a step back in time as we learn more about the historic Sloss Furnaces that helped make Birmingham an industrial giant. That's up first when we return with Simply Southern.
There's no such thing as downtime when you own a farm. This is your land. You tend it and try to get the most from it, no matter the weather or time of day. It's been that way for generations. And for generations, your local quality co-op store has been there for you, with a full range of agriculture supplies and services, from feed to fertilizer, seed to grain storage, and the right hardware for any application. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
The blessing of Alabama agriculture is more than 3 meals a day. It means independence from foreign nations, freedom to pursue other jobs and activities, conservation of natural resources, and preservation of family values. For 93 years, the Alabama Farmers Federation has brought together the men and women whose work fills our plates and fuels the American dream.
Today's farming operation is more complex than ever before, with precision agriculture becoming an integral piece to farm management. AccuField provides precision agriculture technologies and site-specific management capabilities in a simplified and interactive format, helping you put all the pieces of the farming puzzle together. For more information, visit us at www.accufield.com.
Carl and Jan were camping with their family.
Hey, sweetie, do you mind if I get your wallet? I'm going to run down and get some hot dogs for dinner.
You know we're going to catch dinner, right?
Yes, I do. Okay.
Jan lost his wallet at the store. There was no ID in it, but the guy who found it found my business card and called me. I liked saving them money, but I loved helping them save their vacation. It was a good call.
For service and savings, call Alpha.
Tartar sauce, hon?
Yes! Yes!
Birmingham is known across the U.S. for the city's industrial history, especially when it comes to iron. Even the state's biggest football rivalry between Alabama and Auburn, the Iron Bowl, bears the name of the medal that made Birmingham into a thriving metropolis. Today we take a look into one piece of that history at Sloss Furnaces. You can't think of Birmingham's iron industry without thinking Sloss Furnaces.
Sloss Furnaces opened in 1881 and it ran to 1970.
And you can't think of Sloss Furnaces without its founder, James Sloss.
He was an Irishman from Athens, Alabama. So he started out in Athens, Alabama. At 13, he started working with a butcher and keeping his books and things like that. So he really understood how money worked. Incoming and outgoing money and things like that. Then he became a merchant and a railroad man, and then he got into blast furnaces by means of the other entrepreneurs that were coming in, Bartlett and Pratt and all those guys.
Sloss Furnace was a 400-ton blast furnace that employed hundreds of people.
Essentially what it does is it's an oven. It cooks things, and what it cooks down is iron ore, coke, and limestone. And the important thing about Birmingham, you had all three of those ingredients really close by, and they would bring those ingredients in, they would load those into the blast furnace, and around the base of the furnace there's a bustle, a piping system, and they blast in super hot heated air and it melts down that ore. And so your iron starts to accumulate at the bottom, and then the limestone that's mixed in, it will attach itself to the impurities in the ore, and it will gather that slag. That's what the waste ingredient is called. And so the slag will float to the top because it weighs less. The iron's at the bottom, you have an iron notch and you have a slag notch, and so every 4 hours they would let the iron flow out. Every 2 hours they would let the slag flow out, or the waste product.
It did all that work at extremely high temperatures.
So that furnace runs about 3,600 degrees, and they recycle the waste gas coming out of the top as well to reuse as a fuel source.
Ultimately, after around 70 years of operation, the facility, which was wildly successful for dozens of years, had to shut down. And there are two big reasons why.
One thing that happened was plastic. And so plastic was easier to deal with, it was cheaper. You had so much scrap iron around at the time that you didn't need as much pure cast iron. So you had that, and then you had the Clean Air Act of 1970. And that basically went out, it was the law of the land that said, okay, blast furnaces and steel mills and places like that, industry, you need to clean up because of the pollution and things like that. Well, this site was from the 1920s. So you have to put in vast amounts of money to overhaul all the old structures to make them more efficient and less pollutant. And because you're not making as much cast iron anymore, there just simply wasn't, money in there. So, everything had become obsolete by that time.
After it sat for years rusting away, some citizens stepped up and raised enough money to repair it and open it as a museum for the city. It's currently the only 20th century blast furnace preserved as a National Historic Site.
We have a lot of stuff going on. Most importantly, we do continue our heritage through our Metal Arts program. So we offer welding and blacksmithing and beginners casting classes and artist open studios where artists who use cast iron as an art medium, as opposed to paints and things like that, you can use cast iron as an art medium today.
The facility is also used for other big occasions.
This has become a very unique Birmingham venue. So we have about 50 weddings a year. So people come from all over the country. Either they were born and raised here, they come back, and they want to give their guests a Birmingham experience. What better place to start that than where Birmingham started?
Along with weddings and concerts, Sloss Furnaces is available for school field trips and tours. Visit slossfurnaces.com for more information. Coming up later, meet the people who are working to keep rural Alabama safe. And next we'll visit a unique farm in Elkmont, Alabama, where the owners offer cheese and frozen desserts made from goat's milk.
Alabama soybean farmers help fuel the state's economy. Soybeans are used to make clean, renewable biodiesel and are a key ingredient in feed for poultry, catfish, and livestock. Soybeans are used in dozens of products we use every day. But best of all, soybean farmers generate $258 million and more than 4,000 jobs for Alabama's economy, all while helping conserve our natural resources. Explore the power of soy.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed. Because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
I got a call from Ashley, one of my customers, because
it looks like there's been some sort of explosion.
There is soot everywhere, all over this house, and she finds something very strange.
Someone's been here.
Call 911. I'll be right there.
I came home.
It turns out someone tried to break into her house and they got stuck in the chimney. Ashley was covered for the damage to the chimney and the cleanup.
For service and savings, call Alpha.
It's been said, without hard work, nothing grows but weeds. This is certainly true in agriculture. At the Alabama Farmers Federation, we know success is not born of fancy words, grand ideas, or good intentions. It's a result of wise planning, bold leadership, dedicated work, and blessings from above.
On a typical day, most people will consume milk, whether it's a tall, cold glass of the good stuff with a meal, or poured over cereal, or in your morning cup of coffee. And odds are good that for most people, that milk came from a cow. But in Limestone County, Paul and Leslie Spell are producing dairy products made with milk from their goats. Samantha Carpenter has more from Humble Heart Farms.
GOAT spells goat, but it also spells a future for Paul and Leslie Spell. Their farm in Elkmont had an interesting start.
We moved here in 2004, and our property includes 20 acres. And so we started looking at opportunities and what was out there for a small farm opportunity. And in 2005, we started thinking dairy. We went to the state fair over in Tennessee because they have a dairy goat show. And we met some people there, and we actually purchased a herd shortly thereafter. And that's what started our dairy in 2006.
And when they opened, they made history in Alabama.
When we opened in 2006, we were the first new dairy to open in the state of Alabama in 15 years. And what prompted us to do that was the idea that the goat dairy industry was in the same place that the California wine industry was in the 1970s.
The Spells say their goats and their milk are all natural. They don't use any hormones or chemicals on them or their products. They converted an old cattle milking system into a goat milking system. They can milk up to 4 goats at a time.
Our specialties are fresh cheese, and then we make a selection of frozen desserts, including our form of ice cream and another treat that we call a Bama Cool, which is like a sorbet or an Italian ice with a little bit of milk in it.
Outside of their business, the farmers of Humble Heart Farms are also very active in the communities they serve and the school systems. They have frequent tours for students. They believe it's their mission to make sure people know where their food comes from.
Well, part of it is that we've moved so far from farms, and so they have asked children before, where does your hamburger come from? And they've responded, it comes from McDonald's. And it's because they've kind of lost touch with that. I do know in the state of Alabama and some other areas, they're actually making it part of the curriculum now so that children can learn, where does your food come from? And it is something that we need to kind of keep in touch with.
And it's a lesson they drive home every chance they get to speak to students or other tour groups. That message: support local farms and their products.
It's great to see people who have never been to a farm, and they come out here and they see this. And one of the big questions we ask them is 72% of the milk being drank in the world is from, it's actually goat's milk. And most people don't know that.
If we don't have fresh local foods, then you're getting them from foreign countries, or maybe they're being trucked long distances. And every day that a vegetable is out of the ground, or every day that the milk sits in the tank, some of the nutrition is leaving it.
You can find more information on Humble Heart Goat Farm on Facebook or on their website at humbleheartfarms.com. You'll also find their goat cheese and other products at Alabama farmers markets. Be sure to check out Leslie's new farm education book, now available on Amazon to buy. For Simply Southern, I'm Samantha Carpenter.
And Leslie's new book is titled Field Trip: From the Dairy to the Table, all about how the products make it from the farm to you. You can find that on Amazon. And you can also find out more about the products offered at Humble Heart Farms by visiting humbleheartfarms.com. Coming up next, find out how a change in state law enforcement is helping Alabama farmers and others who live in rural areas. And we all know Peter Piper was able to pick a peck of pickled peppers, but what's the best pepper plant for your garden? Find out later from Sidney Phelps of Bonnie Plants, here on Simply Southern.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agriculture scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag tag today.
There's nothing quite like sitting down to a home-cooked meal with fresh vegetables from the garden. With Bonnie plants from your local quality co-op store, you can enjoy the freshest vegetables right from your own backyard. And no matter if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, your quality co-op store has exactly what you need to get the most out of your plants. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
Alabama soybean farmers help fuel the state's economy. Soybeans are used to make clean, renewable biodiesel and are a key ingredient in feed for poultry, catfish, and livestock. Soybeans are used in dozens of products we use every day. But best of all, soybean farmers generate $258 million and more than 4,000 jobs for Alabama's economy, all while helping conserve our natural resources. Explore the power of soy.
Today's farming operation is more complex than ever before, with precision agriculture becoming an integral piece to farm management. AccuField provides precision agriculture technologies and site-specific management capabilities in a simplified and interactive format, helping you put all the pieces of the farming puzzle together. For more information, visit us at www.accufield.com.
Alabama recently completed a consolidation of law enforcement divisions, which was required by a 2013 law. As part of that law, the Agricultural and Rural Crimes Unit was established. Known as ARC-U, the division has already chalked up major victories in defending rural Alabama. Kevin Worthington tells us more about the work of ARC-U.
It grew out of the fact that due to limited funding and cutbacks in personnel, our agency had to abolish our rural investigative section.
Alabama's new Agriculture and Rural Crimes Unit started work June 4th. 10 agents are spread out across the state, and they've been busy investigating a large number of cases since then.
Within the first 2 days, we had a cattle rustling case in Marengo County, and a rancher came home and found somebody sorting cattle in his catch pen.
Timmy Hall says he always left his gates unlocked so that friends and neighbors could fish in his ponds. But when he stopped to check the water for his cows one day, he was surprised at what he found.
And I looked over at the catch pen over to my right, which is a fair distance away, and there was a cow, and the loadout chute was, running back and forth. And, I was thinking, as hot as it is today, I said, that cow would die. So I thought we'd left the gate open or she'd knocked the gate open. So I turned toward the catch pen and went to the catch pen to let the cow out or see where she got in. And I just rode around the back side of the pen. I didn't stop at the front. And it was two guys hunkered down in the catch pen, and they were looking between the bridge rails.
Hall called 911 and managed to hold the two until a deputy and an ag investigator arrived. Wiggins says the best thing about this new agency is that it's built on cooperation, not just between state agencies, but with local law enforcement as well.
We're still an assistant agency, and people that need to report theft or whatever, we do not take the place of sheriff's office or police departments. But just like everybody else, those agencies are limited. They're limited manpower, budgets, and when you have a unit that can come together and can concentrate on these crimes, if you have a situation in a small county where a sheriff's department maybe have some agriculture crime and they have drug crime and they also have murder or serious crime of nature, the murders are going to get worked first. And so we can assist those agencies by taking up the agriculture crime. Once they go out there and it's reported to them, we'll come in and we'll help them with it and work with them, and we can be dedicated to the ag crime alone.
In just the first month of operation, Wiggins estimates the ARCU has made more than 20 arrests and recovered livestock and equipment for a number of victims. Members of the agriculture community hope that, in addition to solving ag crimes, the unit will serve as a deterrent to those who would victimize farmers and others who live in rural areas.
I think certainly the criminal element has a good network of communication, and they knew that our forces were no longer out there to assist in rural counties. So you got to believe that Some of them were caught by surprise with some quick arrests that have been made and equipment recovered and all of those kind of things. So yeah, that word will get out in the network as well.
There was nobody from 2011 to 2013 working agriculture crimes, and now there is, and the results has showed a need for this.
For Simply Southern, I'm Kevin Worthington.
Wiggins encourages those living in rural Alabama to be aware of their surroundings. You can report suspicious activity online at arcu.alabama.gov or by calling 855-75-CRIME. When we return, Sidney Phelps from Bonnie Plants will join us and provide his expert gardening advice.
This seems unbelievable, but I promise it's true.
What's with the buzzing? Oh, that's a raven. That's a good omen. He knows we're coming back with dinner.
Well, that bird had a bunch of friends. And when Scott got back to the camper...
Well, that was a bust! What? Scott! Wait, what did you do? It's raining inside.
His new camper was a total loss, but his Alpha policy covered it.
It's that bird.
For service and savings, call Alpha.
Making sure you're covered?
Good call.
What one thing can you say about your local quality co-op store? You can trust us. You get what you need for your farm, for your lawn and garden, and the safest products for your pets. We're locally owned and operated, and you can trust that we care about our community and the people in it. So if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, the Quality Co-op Store has exactly what you need to get the job done. All this plus friendly, knowledgeable advice. Your Quality Co-op Store. There's one near you.
The blessing of Alabama agriculture is more than 3 meals a day. It means independence from foreign nations, freedom to pursue other jobs and activities, conservation of natural resources, and preservation of family values. For 93 years, the Alabama Farmers Federation has brought together the men and women whose work fills our plates and fuels the American dream.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed. Because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Hey folks, Sidney Phelps here. Today we're outside of the garden and we're in the grocery store here, the local grocery store, in the produce section. Now, the thing about the produce section is it comes in handy all throughout the year. We come here and get our fresh fruits and vegetables to go home and cook dinners throughout the week. But as springtime and summertime comes around, you can find all these same varieties in your garden. For example, we've got collards, we've got cabbage, turnip roots, rutabagas, all the way up to onions, spinaches, cauliflowers, carrots, squash, zucchinis, tomatoes, potatoes, even down to cucumbers and peppers. Now the thing about peppers is you want to make sure you get the right pepper. What's the right pepper? Well, you've got to look at what you're going to be using it for. Are you using it for salsas? Are you using it to saute? Are you using it to stuff and put on the grill? Do you want to make pepper sauce? These are all types of things that you need to keep in mind. Now, bell pepper is probably one of the most common peppers. They come in red, yellow, orange, green bell peppers. But you can use them for so many things. You can julienne them, you can throw them in with stir fries. They are sweet to taste, not a lot of heat. The capsaicin in a bell pepper is very limited, if any. So keep that in mind. If you're wanting to kick it up a little bit, then you need to make a change and go towards something with a little bit more spice. Maybe a tam jalapeno. That's a mild jalapeno. It's not going to have the bite of a normal jalapeno, or you can go on up and go with a jalapeno or a mammoth or a mucho nacho. Now, mucho nacho or mammoth are for larger size. That's what that stands for. Let's think about this though. What do we use peppers in so common throughout our dishes? Maybe it'd be pepper sauce, maybe it'd be salsa. Those are condiments that you find in the grocery store, just like we're going to take a look at now. Now, we're all familiar with this section in the grocery store. It's where we find our pickles, our relishes, our pickled okras, as well as pickled peppers. Well, you know, the thing about this is it's pretty simple to do at home. It's vinegar, it's salt, and you add a little bit of water, and you add your favorite ingredients, whether it be the okras, whether it be a pepper. For example, we've got banana peppers, jalapeno peppers, sliced pepper rings, that's bananas, whether it be a hot banana or a sweet banana, that's up to your preference, whether it be hot or sweet. Chop them up, throw them in that solution, and let them sit. The longer they sit, the better the flavor takes in. As our spring garden comes around, we get very familiar with using pepper sauce on peas or collards, any type of greens. Well, here's your pepper sauce right here. Let me read the ingredients. Tabasco peppers, distilled vinegar, salt. How much more simple can it get? It's easily something that you can do at home. Now, if you don't want it as hot, or you want it hotter, think about your choices. Most pepper sauces are going to have Tabascos, are going to have cayennes in there. If you really want to kick it up a notch, you can always go with habanero. Now, the way to find this information out is going to bonnieplants.com. Click on peppers. Each pepper has got a little pepper on the icon of the screen that tells you the level of capsaicin. Now, capsaicin is where the heat comes from in the pepper. That's that burn that we're familiar with. So, the more peppers you see, the spicier it is. Habanero is probably the hottest pepper that Bonnie carries. Jalapenos are going to be a little bit milder, and of course, your sweet peppers, as we talked about earlier, are going to be great for those stir fries. Go check out the website, see if you can find that perfect pepper that fits you.
We all certainly have different palates, especially when it comes to peppers. So thanks to Sidney Phelps for that very helpful information.
You know, Bonnie grows some really hot peppers, and then they grow some sissy peppers that I can eat.
That's right. I'm right there with you. The milder, the better. If you'd like more information on picking the perfect pepper, visit bonnieplants.com.
For more details on each of today's featured stories, be sure to visit the websites for each location. You can find upcoming events and booking information for Sloss Furnaces at slossfurnaces.com.
HumbleHeartFarms.com lists products available and booking information for Elkmont's Goat Dairy, and arcu.alabama.gov has more information on Alabama's Agricultural and Rural Crimes Unit. Plus, BonniePlants.com has all kinds of information to make your garden thrive this year, including those details on different pepper varieties.
Find additional information about today's featured stories on the Simply Southern Facebook page, and be sure to like Simply Southern for updates on future episodes. On next week's show, we'll travel to the University of West Alabama in Sumter County for an up-close look at the school's Black Belt gardening.
And we'll also see how youth in Northeast Alabama are learning all about responsibility and hard work with 4-H's Chick Chain Project. It's pretty interesting.
Thanks for watching this week's Simply Southern. I'm Jim Allen.
And I'm Mary Johnson. We hope to see you again next Sunday.
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.